What if the greatest musician in the world suddenly vanished from the face of the earth, right at the peak of his career, leaving behind only a mysterious note? For generations, the music industry has been obsessed with stars who burn out tragically. But what about the genius who chose to walk away into total darkness, not once but 3 separate times? We are mourning the loss of a true heavyweight. The legendary saxophone Colossus, Sonny Rollins, has passed away at his home in Woodstock, New York, at the age of 95. But behind the beautiful melodies and the global awards lies a chilling, decades-long mystery of a man who was deeply terrified of his own genius. Why did a man who shared the stage with Miles Davis and John Coltrane completely abandon his fame to play alone on a freezing cold bridge in the middle of the night? Watch this video until the very end, because the secret behind his historic disappearances, his battle with addiction, and his final words to the world will change the way you look at music forever. To understand the intense psychological suspense of Sonny Rollins, you have to realize that he was never satisfied. Born in Harlem during the golden era of jazz, he was a child prodigy who was mentored by the legendary Thelonious Monk. By his early 20s, he was already considered an absolute god of the saxophone. His tone was massive, his speed was terrifying, and his improvisation skills were completely unmatched. But while the world was bowing down to him, Rollins was secretly living through a personal hell. He looked at his masterpieces, including his iconic album Saxophone Colossus, and he did not hear greatness. He only heard flaws. The pressure of being labeled a genius began to crush his spirit. In 1959, at the absolute height of his commercial success, Rollins did something that shocked his band, his managers, and his fans. He completely vanished. No concerts, no recording sessions, and no public appearances. Rumors spread like wildfire. Had he been secretly targeted? Was he hiding from dangerous people? The truth was far more haunting. Overwhelmed by self-doubt and the commercialism of the music industry, Rollins had retreated to the Williamsburg Bridge in New York City. For over 2 years, for 15 hours a day, in the blistering summer heat and the freezing winter snow, he stood completely alone on the pedestrian walkway, blowing his horn into the roaring wind and the passing trains. He wasn't playing for money, and he wasn't playing for an audience. He was playing to conquer the demons inside his own mind. This bridge sabbatical became the stuff of urban legends. When he finally returned in 1962, his sound was completely transformed, more raw, more powerful, and utterly fearless. But the mystery didn't stop there. Rollins would walk away from the spotlight twice more in his life, including a lengthy spiritual journey in 1969, where he dropped everything to live in a remote monastery in India, studying yoga and deep meditation. He was constantly running away from the corporate trap of fame, trying to keep his art pure, untamed, and deeply connected to the universe. Even rock and roll royalty could not escape his spell. In 1981, the Rolling Stones desperately needed a haunting, wistful saxophone solo for their hit song Waiting on a Friend. They called the only man who could deliver it. Sonny Rollins stepped into the studio, watched Mick Jagger dance, and delivered a legendary performance that introduced his genius to a completely new generation of rock fans. Yet, true to his character, Rollins later admitted he didn't even care for their music, calling it a mere derivative of traditional black blues. He could not be bought, and he could not be tamed by the biggest rock band on the planet. As the decades rolled on, his body began to rebel against him. A brutal respiratory illness known as pulmonary fibrosis began to destroy his lungs, forcing the great Colossus into absolute retirement in 2014. For a man whose entire life force came from breathing air into a metal horn, losing his ability to play was the ultimate tragedy. Yet, in his final years, housebound in Woodstock, Rollins found a terrifyingly beautiful peace. He told reporters that he no longer agonized over his music because he could no longer play it. He looked back at his unreleased archives and calmly stated that once he left this planet, he would have no say in what happens to them, and he was completely fine with that. On May 25, 26, the final breath left the lungs of the last living titan of the bebop era. The saxophone Colossus is gone, but the wind on the Williamsburg Bridge will carry his song forever. What is your favorite Sonny Rollins memory? Do you think modern music has lost its soul? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Stay alert, keep your eyes open, and we will see you in the next one.